Okay, we're going to be looking again at objective. I shouldn't say again. We're going to be looking at objective 5 Charlie, identify basic facts about methods of interfacing RF devices with IP network. Remember, you got to get 70%. I'll look at the testing. Please remind me tomorrow or today after we get done with this so I can look up how many questions there. AFSC application. Most of our operating bases here in the United States are going to it. Overseas are working towards it, and there is some areas overseas that have already transferred to it. It is the best of both worlds because sometimes just by taking your cell phone from one base to another, you can link up and talk to people back at your base just through the radio over internet protocol as long as the other base has it. We're going to be looking at radio over internet protocol, better known as RoIP, not to be confused with VoIP, that's voice over internet protocol, even though it does use that. You're going to look at IS dispatch equipment, push to talk scenario for the cell phones, and something called a mesh network, which is basically taking radios and cell phones and combining the two. That's the reason why it's called mesh network. So when we look at radio over internet protocol, this is where we are using the radios and connecting it to what is called a bridge network, where we can make contact not only with the base of where the soft console is, but it can link us to cell phones, or like we're talking over the Discord right now, we could probably link with it too. There is a method of linking two or more radios over internet based connections. You can connect through the soft console to a repeater if necessary. You can direct it to another base station if necessary. But these are just methods in how you're able to make that communication through RoIP. Now, with this, you got something called push to talk that's on your radio, and then you can get an application for your phone, which is called P2T. Papa and the number 2, and then T as in tango. This is so you can make your phone act like a radio. Realistically, the phone is a full duplex item. Your radio is not. It's more half duplex or a simplex system. There is these things called radio identifications, which you're going to have to program through the soft console. Easy to do from what I've seen through the software. It will identify a single radio, or it will identify many radios on a net to include the cell phones if necessary. This radio carrier operated switch generates a busy signal. That means that someone else is talking to another, or that radio that you want to contact, and that's the reason why you're going to get one, a busy signal. There are different types of features that can go with the software that goes to a computer, because that's what a soft console is. It's a like a desktop like I have with software on it, and it is linked to radio bridges throughout, and you can link cell phones to different radios as a single connection. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with this. This emergency revive and remote monitoring are some key features to it. For example, you can actually break, for example, you've got a exercise going on and a real world exercise or real world situation comes up, and you can interrupt everybody and talk over them. Revive and remote monitoring, yeah, that's another piece of it. We'll get to that when you get out to your next field. If you have this revive and remote monitoring is features that you might or might not need. The benefits of radio over IP. Well, the first thing is you don't have to buy a whole lot of infrastructure to cover the area of what you really need. It is easily deployable and easily upgradable. That's what makes it so nice. Back in my day, if you wanted to cover more area, normally you had to go out and buy more radios and base stations and heaters in order to make that to happen. I was in you know the Hill Air Force Base, Utah Test and Training Range. That is a lot of area to cover, and the only way that we could cover it realistically is to use repeaters on mountaintops. But now with this system, you can take your cell phone from Hill Air Force Base, go to one of the two different sites there, and still be able to talk back at the base. Links to phones, dispatch consoles, computers, and legacy systems. Yeah, is basically what I've been talking about. If you had a regular net, and when I say net, I'm talking a radio net, where let's just say everybody's on the comm network, everybody has radios. So now instead of just having radios, now I can link anybody with cell phones to that network. That's what this stuff does. Computers, like I'm talking to you guys in front of Discord here, the legacy. Does anybody know what legacy means?
Oh, no, so maybe older systems.
Yep, exactly. You're going to see when you get to the NSM and the GMT and things like that, you're going to hear the words legacy and enhanced. Legacy meaning the older systems, and enhanced meaning the newer systems. What's nice about this is you're linking those two together without any major, uh, let's just say, pieces of equipment. Back in the day, you would have to do that. So with this legacy capability with it, if you had an old radio system and you didn't have a whole lot of money, or you were allocated very little money to make systems work, by incorporating RoIP, you can expand with little to no money. That's the reason why that last statement, RoIP has no distance limitations. As long as you're going from point A to point B with the system capabilities, it shouldn't be an issue. When you look at the IP dispatch, I talked briefly about the soft console. That is the key to everything, as well as the bridging networks that come with it. Bridging networks is basically taking that digital signal, being able to convert it into a radio signal to where the radios will understand what's going on. That's how it's able to be able to talk, let's say, from a cell phone to the radio. When you say apps are available, that's very true. If you got, let's say, an iPad or a Surface Pro or any personal device, sure, you'll be able to do it as long as you're authorized. And the other part of that is the soft console has to get your ID number, like your phone number, linked into the system for that to happen. The big thing, that keyword, interoperability. Back in the day, Apples couldn't talk to PCs, and PCs couldn't talk to Apples, and you couldn't talk between, let's just say, a compact computer to a HP computer's printer. Yeah, they had a lot of problems with interoperability back then. But now comes all these standards to where any company can get in there and make their brand known. Drives competition pretty good. And because of it, the interoperability, now Apple can talk to a PC, talk to a Android, or an iPad. So it's pretty much now anything or any company that's out there can create something and be able to get right onto it with that interoperability scenario. Whole idea is to bridge that gap. because you got legacy systems and enhanced systems. Now, there are some cases where you can connect just by using a microphone jack or an auxiliary connector. You know, you got an older TV, you're trying to connect your thumb drive to it. There are ways around it that you can use using those connectors. We have something called push to talk. This is an application for cell phones, just briefing you on it. There are several different varieties out there. Whole idea here is because the cell phone coverage is quite extensive, now you're looking at 95% of the United States. That's pretty doggone good. And when you go overseas, same thing. Network resiliency. The big thing about this mesh network is its resiliency. For example, if the soft console goes, it's very possible that just that little area that's linked is going to go. Or if a radio fails or a cell phone gets out of service, only just that portion will go away as opposed to not the whole system. Just because you might have a net and your net goes down, that doesn't mean the rest of the system is not working. It just means just your part. And that's what makes this so nice nowadays. You can link systems together very easily. And transferring from one to the other isn't that hard. It's seamless. You don't have to interrupt service in order to do it. So we've gone over radio over internet protocol, discussed what it had a little bit behind the scenes, looked at the IS dispatch equipment, push to talk, applications, and a general consensus of the mesh network. Any questions?
This one was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it is pretty straightforward. I wish I'd have had that when we were transferring to the trunking system at Hill Air Force Base, but there are ways around some of the vendors trying to sell you products, and I was able to seamlessly connect people that went from a single frequency to multiple frequencies on the trunking. But if I had this, give me a console, or excuse me, a computer, I'll be good to go. Resiliency of the military type. We always find ways around it.